Greetings! Mantare79 here, and welcome back to another deck profile video for Cardfight Vanguard Deer Days! Alrighty then, let's get started. Pressing the A button now. Loading game and proceeding. Here we are in the main menu, off to edit deck menu. And now in today's video, the deck profile I'm going to be making one for is a Brandt Gates, Aurora Battle Princess, Seraph Snow, D-BT06. And I'm going to be using this Brandt Gates, Aurora Battle Princess, Seraph Snow, D-Booster 4 deck as the base of the deck I'm going to build. Alrighty, let's get started. So going to edit deck, entering edit deck, and off we go. Here we are in the edit deck menu, and like I just mentioned before, the deck I'm building in today's deck profile video is a Brandt Gates, Aurora Battle Princess, Seraph Snow deck, made up of cards only available up until D-Booster 6. So first, let's go to the filter settings and to pack, show only cards from D-Booster 1, Genesis of the 5 Greats, D-Booster 2, A Brush with the Legends, D-Booster 3, Advance of Intertwined Stars, D-Booster 4, Awakening of Chakrabarti, D-Booster 5, Triumphant Return of Brave Heroes, Festival Collection 2021, Festival Collection 2022, Promo Pack number 1, and last but not least, D-Booster 6, Blazing Dragon Reborn. Apply filter, and now let's first start with the deck's Great 4 lineup. For the Great 4s of this deck, we are playing the Great 4, Aurora Fierce Princess, Seraph Purelight. Skills for skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the Vanguard circle, cost Counterblast 1 and Soul Blast 1 card with Seraph in its card name. If the cost has been paid, your opponent chooses 2 cards each from their hand, rear guards, and soul, and imprison them in your prison. Second skill, continuous as a Vanguard. During your turn, all of your front row units gets plus 5,000 power for every 2 of your opponent's cards imprisoned in your prison. If 10 or more cards are imprisoned, all of your front row units gets plus 1 critical. So for Seraph Purelight, she's the main Great 4 to ride in this deck. The first skill is the first skill. Just by riding Purelight onto your Vanguard, by paying the cost, your opponent is forced to give up 2 cards each from their hand, rear guard, and soul to put in your prison, making this a good way to not only reduce the cards in your opponent's hand, rear guard, and soul, you can also stack up more cards in your prison to later activate your Seraph Purelight second skill, which is, during your turn, all of your front row units, Vanguard and rear guard included, get plus 5,000 power for every 2 cards in the prison. And with 10 or more cards in the prison, your front row, Vanguard and rear guard included, get plus 1 critical, making this second skill a good way to not only increase your front row's power, but to also increase their criticals, making it a good way to easily finish off or at least pressure your opponent. Okie dokie, the Great 4, Aurora Fierce Princess, Seraph Purelight. We have 4 in the deck, leaving it that way. And now for the Grade 3 lineup. For the Grade 3s of this deck, we are playing right deck, Grade 3, Aurora Battle Princess, Seraph Snow. Skills for skill, continuous as a Vanguard. During your turn, if 1 or more of your opponent's cards are imprisoned in your prison, this unit gets plus 10,000 power. And if 3 or more cards are in your prison, this unit gets drive plus 1. Second skill, action as a Vanguard or rear guard, once per turn. Cost, Counterblast 1. If the cost has been paid, choose 2 of your opponent's rear guards and imprison them in your prison. Put them into your order zone that is a prison. So for Seraph Snow, she's the main Grade 3 to ride this deck. With her skills, the first skill, just by having cards in your prison, you can give power to your Vanguard, and if 3 or more in the prison, you get drive plus 1, making it a good way to not only make your Vanguard a more powerful attacker, but also to give you an increased chance of getting more triggers by giving a drive plus 1 to your Vanguard. And the second skill, just by paying the cost, you'll be able to wipe out your opponent's field of rear guards and stack up cards to your prison, making it a good way to combo the first skill to get the power and plus 1 drive. And alright, the grade 3 Aurora Battle Princess, Seraph Snow. We have one in the right deck, leaving it that way. Next up, the next in the grade 3 lineup is over here. The grade 3 Aurora Battle Princess, Launcher Charlene. Skills for skill, continuous as a rear guard. During the battle this unit attacked, your opponent cannot call normal units from hand to Guardian Circle and cannot play Blitz orders from hand. And second skill, continuous as a rear guard. If the number of your opponent's cards are imprisoned in your prison is 5 or less, this unit cannot attack. So for Charlene, she's a support card for the Seraph Snow deck. For her skill, the first skill, just by attacking your opponent cannot guard her attack with more or less normal units or blitz orders, making it a good way to restrict your opponent's guarding options when you attack with Charlene. And the second skill, unless the conditions of the second skill are met, you cannot attack Charlene, so this second skill is more of a restriction than an ability. So moving on, the grade 3 Aurora Battle Princess, Launcher Charlene, we are putting in 2 into the deck. 2 is enough. And with that, the grade 3 lineup is done. Now let's get on to the grade 2 lineup. For the grade 2s of this deck, we are playing right deck, grade 2, Aurora Battle Princess, Rizit Pink. Skills for skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the Vanguard circle, your opponent chooses a card from their hand and imprisons in your prison. Put it into your order zone that's a prison. Second skill, continuous as a rear guard. If one or more of your opponent's cards are imprisoned in your prison, this unit gets plus 2000 power. So for Rizit Pink, she's the main grade 2 to ride this deck. With her skills, the first skill, just by riding Rizit Pink, you can reduce the number of cards in your opponent's hand by imprisoning one of them into your prison. And the second skill, as long as the conditions of the second skill are met, your Rizit Pink can then serve as a potential 12,000 point attacker for the front row. Okay, the grade 2 Aurora Battle Princess, Rizit Pink, we have one in the right deck, leaving it that way. Next up, the grade 2 Aurora Battle Princess, Agra Rouge, not playing her anymore, taking it out. The grade 2 Normal Order, Moment of Capture, Aurora Battle Princess, 24-hour coverage, not playing this card anymore, taking it out. And in their places, we're putting into the grade 2 lineup. Over here, the grade 2 Aurora Battle Princess, Perio Turquoise. Skills for skill, continuous as a rear guard. During your turn, if 2 or more of your opponent's cards are imprisoned in your prison, this unit gets plus 5000 power. And second skill, auto from the front row rear guard circle. When your opponent's card imprisoned in your prison is placed in their rear guard, that unit gets minus 5000 power until end of turn. So for Perio Turquoise, another support card for the Seraph Snow deck. For her skills, the first skill, just by meeting the conditions of the skill, your Perio Turquoise can then serve as a potential 15,000 point attacker for the front row. And second skill, just by leaving her in your front row rear guard, whenever your opponents wish to call cards from their prison, you can weaken their power by 5,000, making it much less likely for that call unit to land a devastating blow on you. And the best part is, Perio Turquoise's second skill is stackable. If you manage to fill at least two Perio Turquoises in your front row, you can stack the minus 5,000 power to any card your opponent calls from their prison. And okie dokie, the grade 2 Aurora Battle Princess, Perio Turquoise, we are putting into the deck, putting 3 should be enough. Next up, the grade 2 Aurora Battle Princess, Cup Spring, skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the rear guard circle, your opponent chooses a card from their hand and imprisons it in your prison. If it was in prison, your opponent draws a card. So for Cup Spring, another support card for the Seraph Snow deck. With her skill, just by calling to the rear guard, your opponent is forced to reduce their hand by putting 1 card in their prison in exchange for drawing a new card. So Cup Spring, a good way to more or less stack up cards to your prison for almost no cost. And alrighty then, the grade 2 Aurora Battle Princess, Cup Spring, we have 3 in the deck, leaving it that way. And next up, for the deck's grade 2 lineup, we are putting in the grade 2 Aurora Battle Princess, Barrage Litra, skill, auto from the rear guard. When your opponent's unit is retired from rear guard or guardian circle during the battle this unit attacked, imprison that retired card in your prison. So for Litra, another support card for the Seraph Snow deck. For skill, whenever you attack your rear guard Litra, whenever a card is retired from their rear guard or guardian circle, for example, when you target attack an opponent's rear guard, or if your opponent chooses to guard against Litra, Your opponent is then forced to put those cards into your prison, allowing you to stack up more cards in your prison to add up to later activate your skills that require a high number of cards in your prison. And alright, the grade 2 Aurora Battle Princess, Barrage Litra, we are putting into the deck. 3 into the deck, 3 should be enough. And next up, the grade 2 Aurora Battle Princess, Accused Macarite, skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the rearguard circle from hand, cost Soul Blast 1. If the cost is paid and your opponent imprisons the top card of their deck in your prison face up, then if 2 or more of your opponent's cards are imprisoned in your prison, this unit gets plus 5,000 power until end of turn. So for Accused Macarite, another support card for the Seraph Snow deck, with her skill, just by calling her to the rearguard from hand and paying the cost, not only can you force your opponent to imprison cards, but to also turn your Macarite into a potential 15,000 point attacker for the front row. Alrighty then, the grade 2 Aurora Battle Princess, Accused Macarite, we have 4 in the deck, leaving it that way. And with that, the grade 2 lineup is done. Now let's get on to the grade 1 lineup. For the grade 1s this deck we are playing, Ride deck, grade 1, Aurora Battle Princess, Kyanite Blue, skills for skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the Vanguard circle, search your deck for up to 1 prison card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. Second skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the rearguard circle, if 1 or more of your opponent's cards are imprisoned in your prison, cost Counter Blast 1 and Soul Blast 1. If the cost is paid, draw a card. So for Kyanite Blue, she's the main grade 1 to ride this deck. With her skills, the first skill, just by riding Kyanite Blue into your Vanguard, you can secure yourself a prison card to later add to your hand and play in your later game strategy. And the second skill, just by calling Kyanite Blue to the rear guard while the conditions in the skill are met and you pay the cost, you can increase your hand size by drawing more cards. Affirmative, the grade 1 Aurora Battle Princess, Kyanite Blue, we have 1 in the right deck, leaving it that way. Next up, the grade 1 set order, prison, Galaxy Central Prison, Galactolus, skills for skill, order, rest cost, rest 1 of your units and play this card. Second skill, auto. When this card is put into the order zone, soul charge 3. Third skill, continuous from the order zone. When your opponent can normal call a rear guard, they can perform the following: Soul Blast 1. If they do so, they choose 1 of their imprisoned cards and call the rear guard. Counter Blast 1. If they do so, they choose 2 of their imprisoned cards and call them the rear guard. So for Galactolus, it's 1 of the main cards meant to be played in the Seraph Snow deck. With its skills, second skill, just by deploying this card to your order zone, you can build up your soul for later Soul Blast. And the third skill, your opponent, if they wish to retrieve any of the cards they were imprisoned on their prison, they'll be forced to give up a Soul Blast or Counter Blast whenever they wish to call cards from prison, making a good way to reduce the options your opponents have by making them sacrifice their normal costs. And alright, the grade 1 Galaxy Central Prison, Galactolus, we have 1 in the deck, leaving it that way. Next up, the grade 1 Hyperspeed Robo Shovel Stud, skill, action as a rear guard once per turn, cost Counter Blast 1 and Soul Blast 1. If the cost is paid, choose 1 of your opponent's rear guards and imprison in your prison. Then if 3 or more of your opponent's cards are imprisoned in your prison, you draw a card. Super Shovel Stud, another support card for the Seraph Snow deck. With its skill, just by paying the cost, not only do you get to wipe out your opponent's field of rear guards and stack up cards in your prison, but also, as long as the conditions of the skill are met, you can increase your hand size by drawing 1. Okie dokie, the grade 1 Hyperspeed Robo Shovel Stud, we have 4 in the deck, taking 1 out, only playing 3. Next up, the grade 1 Violet Dragon, Sentinel, Perfect Guard, skills for skill, continuous Sentinel, second skill, auto. When this unit is put on the Guardian Circle, choose 1 of your units and it cannot be hit until end of battle. If your hand has 2 or more cards, choose a card from your hand, discard it. So for Violet Dragon, it's a perfect guard for the Brandt Nation. Like any other perfect guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When used to guard with and discarding a card from your hand, you can block 1 enemy attack. But Violet Dragon also has an ability unique to all these standard format perfect guards. When used to guard with while you have less than 2 cards in hand, you will not have to pay the usual discard 1 cost, making Violet Dragon a potential no-cost perfect guard in desperate last resort situations. Affirmative, the grade 1 Violet Dragon, we have 4 in the deck, taking 1 out, only playing 3. And next in the grade 1 lineup, we are playing The Great One, Blitz Order, Elementaria Sanctitude, skills for skill, Continuous Sentinel. You may only have up to 4 cards of Continuous Sentinel in a deck. Second skill, Continuous, you may only have up to 1 Elementaria Sanctitude in a deck. Third skill, Order, if your opponent's Vanguard has triple drive, this ability can be played without paying the cost. Play this if a cost of, discard a card from your hand if your Vanguard is grade 3 or less. If the cost and pay, choose one of your units, and it cannot be hit until end of battle, remove this card. So for Elementaria Sanctitude, it's the Blitz Order version of the Perfect Guard. Like any other Perfect Guard in the Cardfight Vanguard trading card game, it features the same skill and activation. When activated and paying a cost of discarding a card from your hand, you can block one enemy attack. But ideally, Elementaria Sanctitude is a potential no-cost Perfect Guard against opponents who play decks that specialize in having Vanguards of triple drive, for example Grade 4s, or Vanguards that increase their drive check by 1 with skills or card effect. Against such cards and opponents, your Elementaria Sanctitude can then serve as a no-cost Perfect Guard. Affirmative, the Great One, Blitz Order, Elementaria Sanctitude, we have none, putting 1 in the deck. There we go. Next up in the Great One lineup, the Great One, Aurora Battle Princess, Suppress Gleamer, skills for skill, Continuous as a rear guard. If you have a Vanguard of Seraph in its card name, this unit gets plus 5,000 power. And second skill, Auto, when this unit is placed on the rear guard circle from hand, if 3 or more of your opponent's cards are imprisoned in your prison, search your deck for up to 1 card with the same card name as this unit, call to rear guard, and shuffle your deck. So for Suppress Gleamer, a support card for the Brandt for the Seraph Snow deck. The first skill, as long as the conditions of the first skill are met, your Suppress Gleamer can then serve as a potential 13,000 point attacker for the front row or a 13,000 point booster for the back row. And the second skill, just by calling Suppress Gleamer, as long as the conditions of the second skill are met, you have the chance to call another copy of Suppress Gleamer from your deck to rear guard, giving you another Suppress Gleamer to potentially attack with or boost with. And okie dokie, the Great One, Aurora Battle Princess, Suppress Gleamer, we have 4 in the deck, taking 1 out, only playing 3. And with that, we just about covered the deck's Great One lineup. Now let's get on to the Grade 0 lineup. For the Grade 0s of this deck, we are playing right deck, Grade 0, Aurora Battle Princess, Ruby Red, skill, auto. When this unit is rolled upon, if you went second, draw a card. So for Ruby Red, she's the starting unit of this deck. Like any other starting unit in the D standard format, it features the same skill. Just by riding on top of her while you're the second to go in the game, you get to draw a card. And alright, the Grade 0, Aurora Battle Princess, Ruby Red, we have 1 in the right deck, leaving it that way. And now it's time to get on to the trigger lineup. For the triggers of this deck, we are playing the Grade 0, Patrol Robo, Decker Cop, critical trigger, skill, auto, and rear guard. At the end of the battle, this unit boosted. Cost, put this unit into your soul. If the cost and paid, choose one of your units, and it gets plus 2,000 power until end of turn. So for Decker Cop, a powerful critical trigger to play in your Brandt Nation decks. If it's skill, after boosting the attack, regardless if the attack hits or not, as long as you don't mind moving Decker Cop from your rear guard to your soul, not only can you build up your soul for later Soul Blast, but to also give your remaining attacker in the field, Vanguard or rear guard, a little extra power to work with. Okay, the Grade 0, Patrol Robo, Decker Cop, critical trigger, we have 4 in the deck, leaving it that way. Next up, the Grade 0, Aurora Battle Princess, Loris Yellow, critical trigger, we are putting into the deck, putting 4 into the deck, 4 is fine. Next up, the Grade 0, Cardinal, Draco, and Pyro, front trigger, not playing this card anymore, taking it out. And then the Grade 0, Ameliorate Connector, draw trigger, skill, continuous as a guardian. If your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, this unit gets plus 5,000 shield. So for Ameliorate Connector, it's a powerful draw trigger to play in your Brandt Nation decks with its skill. When used to guard with while the conditions of the skill are met, your Ameliorate Connector can serve as a potential 10,000 point shield on its own. So for the Grade 0, Ameliorate Connector, draw trigger, we have 4 in the deck. Taking 1 out, only playing 3. Next up, the Grade 0, Aurora Battle Princess, shoots green, heal trigger. Not playing this card anymore, taking it out, and in its place we are putting in the Grade 0. The Grade 0, Lady Healer of the Creaking World, heal trigger, skill, auto. When this unit is placed on the Guardian Circle, if your opponent's attacking unit has attacked 2 or more times this turn, This unit gets plus 15,000 shield until end of battle. Active this battle is its second attack this turn or more. So for Lady Healer of the Creaking World, a powerful heal trigger to play in your Brandt Gate Nation decks with her skill. When used to guard with while the conditions of the skill are met, your Lady Healer of the Creaking World can then serve as a potential 25,000 point shield on her own. Ideally, Lady Healer is a counter heal best played against opponents who play decks that specialize in restanding, attacking multiple times their units, either their Vanguard or Rear Guard. So for grade 0, Lady Healer of the Creaking World heal trigger, we are putting in 2 into the deck. 2 is enough. And next up, the grade 0 Whistling Arrow of Recursion, Alpha Fold, heal trigger, skill, auto. When this unit is put in the Guardian Circle, if the attacking unit's critical is 2 or greater, and its critical is increased by a non-trigger effect ability, or its original critical is 2 or greater, this unit gets plus 15,000 shield until end of battle. So for Alpha Fold, another powerful heal trigger to play in your Brandt Gate Nation decks with its skill. When used to guard with while the conditions of the skill are met, your Alpha Fold can then serve as a potential 25,000 point shield on its own. Ideally, Alpha Fold is a counter heal best played against opponents who play decks that specialize in increasing their attacking unit's critical, either their Vanguard or Rear Guard by skill or card effect, not by trigger. And affirmative, the grade 0, Whistling Arrow of Recursion, Alpha Fold, heal trigger, we are putting 2 into the deck, 2 is enough. And finally, the grade 0, Star Dragon, Deity of Infinitude, Elder Rep, over trigger, skill, trigger, additional effect, double the power and critical of all of your front row units until end of turn, increase to double its power and critical when activated. So for Elder Rep, it's the over trigger for the Brandt Gate Nation. Like any other over trigger in the Cardfight Vanguard training card game, it features the same skill and activation. When revealed during a drive check or damage check, you get 100 million power and draw a card, but it also features an ability unique to it alone. When revealed during a drive check during your turn, you get to double the power and critical of all front row units, Vanguard and Rear Guard included, making Elder Rift a ideal front over trigger that to be revealed during the late stage of the game when it's time to potentially pressure finish off your opponent. For the increased power and critical this over trigger provides, make it easier to do so. And alrighty, the grade 0, Star Dragon, Deity of Infinitude, Elder Rep, over trigger, we have 1 in the deck, leaving it that way, and of that, the deck has been built. Cardfight explained. Let's save the deck. Override deck being built. Yes. And for the cards in this deck, we are playing 4, grade 4, Aurora Fierce Princess, Seraph Purelight. 1, grade 3, Aurora Battle Princess, Seraph Snow. 2, grade 3, Aurora Battle Princess, Launcher Charlene. 1, grade 2, Aurora Battle Princess, Grizzet Pink. 3, grade 2, Aurora Battle Princess, Perio Turquoise. 3, grade 2, Aurora Battle Princess, Huff Spring. 3, grade 2, Aurora Battle Princess, Barrage Litra. 4, grade 2, Aurora Battle Princess, Accused Macarite. 1, grade 1, Aurora Battle Princess, Kianite Blue. 1, grade 1, Galaxy Central Prison, Galactolus. 3, grade 1, Hyperspeed Robo, Shovel Stud. 3, grade 1, Violet Dragon. 1, grade 1, Elementaria Sanctitude. 3, grade 1, Aurora Battle Princess, Suppressed Gleamer. And 1, grade 0, Aurora Battle Princess, Ruby Red, starting unit. And for the trigger line of this deck, we are playing 8 critical triggers, 3 draw triggers, 4 heal triggers, and finally 1 over trigger, Elder Ref. And with that, the deck has been built, Cardfight has explained. Now it's time to test out a deck, so let's leave the edit deck menu and return to the main menu. Off to fight menu, CPU fight, Selecting the deck I just built, the Brandt Gate, Aurora Battle Princess, Seraph Snow, D-Booster06 deck. Selecting deck and choosing an opponent. I'm choosing Stoic Chaos, Megumi Okura, normal difficulty for my opponent, and select. And the battle begins! Let's get started! Here we are in the fight. We're gonna decide who goes first, so a rock, paper, scissors, shoot! Paper to scissors, I lose, going second, drawing our starting hands. I got one draw trigger, one shuffle stud, a suppressed gleamer, pair of turquoise, and a critical. Holding on to the normal units, just gonna return the trigger units, redraw. Yes, 2 new break 2s. Stand up the Vanguard, and my opponent's going first. My opponent is riding the Great One Karis, and end of their turn, my turn. I draw. I ride from the right deck, Aurora Battle Princess, Kyanite Blue. For the right deck cost, I'm discarding one draw trigger, a Melorite Connector, discard, and ride. Next up, Kyanite Blue skill, search my deck for a prison card. I'm adding Galaxy Central Prison Galactolus to my hand, add the hand, and then my starting unit skill, draw one card, and draw! Yes, another great 2! Next, I'm calling to the rear guard, Shovel Stud, calling over here. That should do it. Then from my hand, I deploy Galaxy Central Prison Galactolus. I'm resting, Shovel Stud, and deploy set order. When deployed, soul charge 3 cards, and soul charge 1, 2, and 3. Grade 4 and a perfect guard. That's not good for me. Fine, then on to battle phase. My Vanguard attacks the Vanguard, 8k. The attack goes through, drive check. Yes, critical trigger. That's a good start. All affects the Vanguard, and 2 damage to the opponent. And zap, damage 1. Yes, front trigger. She wasted a trigger. Trigger effect wasted, and second check. No trigger, safe. That's the end of my turn. My opponent's turn. My opponent rides the Grade 2, Sylvanhorn Beast Lattice, Karis' skill. Look at the top card of the deck, it's a front trigger. Nice superior call, and another trigger out of the deck. Lucky me, she calls 2 Gnozias. Gnozia 1 attacks the Vanguard, and no guard, taking a hit. Ow! Damage check. No trigger. Now here comes an attack from the Vanguard, 14k. No guard, gonna take it. Drive check. Heal trigger, come on! Healing 1 and power to Gnozia, so 1 damage to me. Ow! Damage check. Grade 4 again, come on, 2 out of the deck. 20k to Vanguard, I guard the critical, Decker Cop. Guard, and 23k, attack blocked. Ka-chink, safe. End of my opponent's turn, my turn. Stand and draw. I ride from the right deck, Aurora Battle Princess, Rizet Pink. For the right deck cost, I'm discarding. I'm gonna discard Barrage Litra. Discard and ride Rizet Pink. Rizet Pink skill, opponent imprisons 1 card in the prison. They imprisoned a heal trigger. Alright, 1 less trigger out the deck. Next up, I call Aurora Battle Princess, Cup Spring to the rear guard, and call. Skill activated. Opponent imprisons top card, 1 card in their hands. Imprison and draw. They imprisoned a Grade 2. Yes, 1 less card to worry about. Now here comes Aurora Battle Princess, accuse Macrorite to the rear guard. Call. Macrorite skill, Soul Blast 1. Soul Blast. And imprison 1 card in their deck. Power to the rear guard. The card that was imprisoned was a perfect guard. Sweet. 1 less card to worry about. This is working out well for me. Now I'm gonna activate Shovel Stud skill. Shovel Stud lets me, let's see, Counter Blast 1, Counter Blast, Soul Blast 1, Soul Blast, and Imprison 1 rear guard. I'm imprisoning. One front trigger in the back row and draw a card. Ah, heal trigger, come on. Fine, whatever. Then I'm gonna call to the rear guard. Let's see, in the prison there's nothing but there's only one good grade 2, so better play it safe. I move back and call Perio Turquoise, calling, and power added. That should be enough. On to battle phase. First up, Macarite attacks the rear guard Genosea on the left. The attack goes through and zap. One less rear guard to worry about. Now, Perio Turquoise attacks the rear guard Genosea on the right. The attack goes through and slash. Another less rear guard to worry about. Now boosted by Shovel Stud. Wizard Pink attacks the Vanguard, 18k. The attack goes through. Drive check. Grade 2, not bad I guess. So 1 damage to the opponent. Bang, bang, bang. Damage check. Ah, draw trigger, come on. Fine, whatever. And that's the end of my turn. My opponent's turn. My opponent rides the grade 3 Sylvan Beast King Magnolia. And here comes Lattice's skill. Look at the top card of the deck. It is a draw trigger and force to call another trigger out of the deck. Lucky me. Activating Prison to Superior Call. Grade 1 Dominaru and power to the back row, but now here comes Perio Turquoise's skill. Dominaru loses 5,000 power. And now calling another rear guard and calling Vanguard to Vanguard. No guard, gonna take it. And here comes our twin drive. First check. No trigger, grade 2, safe. Second check. No trigger, grade 3, safe, so just 1 damage. Here it comes. Ow! Damage check. No trigger, Shovel Stud. Magnolia skill. A rear guard in the back row can now attack and gets power. Huh, that's all. And the turn, my turn, I stand and draw. I ride from the right deck. Overall Battle Princess, Seraph Snow. For the right deck cost, I'm discarding 1 Suppress Gleamer, discard, and ride! Seraph Snow! Now I'm activating Seraph Snow's skill. Hold on, I have 3 cards in prison, so I'm calling a Shovel Stud from my hand to the rear guard. And now, yep, I'm activating Shovel Stud skill, Counter Blast 1, and Soul Blast 1, imprison 1 card in the rear guard. I'm imprisoning the back row Gabrick. One more time, Shovel Stud, Counter Blast 1, and yep, yes, I drew a grade 4, so just gonna, oh no. Yep, gonna activate Shovel Stud skill again, Counter Blast 1 and Soul Blast 1. I imprison Gabrick. And draw a card, a grade 3 Launcher Charlene, so that should be enough. Or is it? I'm gonna call Cuff Spring to the rear guard, calling Cuff Spring skill. My opponent imprisons 1 card in their hand, they imprison 1 and draw. The card that was imprisoned was a grade 2 Leoka. Alrighty, then that should be enough. On to battle phase. First up, my Perio Turquoise attacks the rear guard Dominaru, 15k. The attack goes through and slash. 1 less rear guard to worry about. Now boosted by Shovel Stud, my Cuff Spring attacks the Vanguard, 18k. No guard and bang bang bang, 1 damage. Damage check. No trigger, perfect guard, nice. 1 less card to worry about. Now here it comes. Boosted by Shovel Stud, Seraph Snow attacks the Vanguard, 31,000 power, triple drive. My opponent perfect guards, and discarding for the perfect guard cost a grade 3. Alright, triple drive, first check. Ah, critical trigger, come on. trigger effect wasted. I should have attacked the Vanguard before the rear guard. And second check. Grade 4, not too bad. Now, third check. Yeah, over trigger, but shoot. Over trigger wasted. And what rotten luck. I wasted a critical and my over trigger. This is not good for me. And so that's the end of my turn, my opponent's turn. My opponent is now riding the... Yep, she's Persona riding the grade 3 Magnolia and Prison Skill, she's Superior Calls. Gabret, Paraturquoise skill, Gabret loses 5,000 power. And activating Prison again, she's calling 2 more, a Gabret and a heal trigger. Paraturquoise skill, again, minus 5,000 power. And heal triggers at 0 power, one more time. Power down. Calling a rear guard and calling. And calling again, she's emptied out her entire hand. Vanguard the Vanguard. So already I perfect guard with Violet Dragon. For the perfect guard cost, I am discarding 1 grade 4, discard. Twin Drive, first check, grade 3, safe, and second check. Front trigger, power to the whole front row. Here it comes. Ka-chink, and safe. Magnolia skill, power, and the ability to attack from the back row. The 3 units. We're about the Vanguard. I intercept with Cup Spring, 18k. And ka-chink, safe. We're about the Vanguard. I guard with Alpha Full, 23k. And safe. Ka-chink. Gabret attacks from the rear guard. No guard, taking a hit. Ow! Damage check. No trigger. And now, end of turn, my turn, stand and draw. I ride the grade 4 Aurora Fierce Princess, Seraph Purelight. Purelight skill, Counterblast 1, and a special Soul Blast. 2 cards from Soul, Rear Guard, and Hand to my prison. 7 cards in total. But not enough. Then I called Launcher Charlene to rear guard, calling, and on to battle phase. First up, boosted by Shovel Stud, Purelight attacks the Vanguard, 36k. The attack goes through, triple drive, first. No trigger, Paraturquoise, second check. Yes! Critical trigger, just what I needed. I give critical to the Vanguard and power to Paraturquoise. Critical added and power added. Check. No trigger, so 2 damage to the opponent. Bang, bang, bang. Damage 1. No trigger. And damage 2. Draw trigger, come on. And power to the Vanguard, but still enough. So boosted by Shovel Stud, my Paraturquoise attacks the Vanguard. 30. Nope. Boosted by Shovel Stud, Charlene attacks the Vanguard. 36k. My opponent guards with a heal trigger. 38k. The attack is blocked. Now the final attack from Paraturquoise, the Vanguard. 40k. The attack goes through and slash. 1 damage. Damage check. Heal trigger for the 6 damage. Come on. So lucky. And my opponent survives. End of their turn. End of my turn. Their turn. My opponent's gonna go straight to battle phase. Can't afford it for a double critical, so I double guard and 43k. Over trigger to pass. First check. No trigger. Lilka and second check. Come on. Nothing. No trigger. Perfect guard. Safe. So attack blocked and ka-chink. Magnolia skill, Burger on the back row can attack for 15k. Dominaru skill and power itself 20k. 20k to Vanguard. No guard, taking a hit. Ow! Damage check. Ah, critical trigger, wasted a trigger. All effects of Imperial Turquoise. And trigger effects added. So that's the end of my opponent's turn. My turn. Stand and draw. And skipping to main phase. Only 7 cards in prison. Not enough to get the +1 critical. Then I activate Shovel Stud skill. Counterblast 1. Soul Blast 1. And imprison 1 card. I'm imprisoning the Daminaru in the back row. And draw card. Critical. Darn it. Fine, whatever, onto battle phase, boosted by Shovel Stud, Pure Light attacks the Vanguard, 41k, triple drive, perfect guard, and discarding for the perfect guard cost is a draw trigger, triple drive, first check. Yes, draw trigger! I draw a card, and power to Imperial Turquoise, power added, second check. No trigger. Third check. Elementary Sanctitude. No trigger, so the attack fails. Now, Imperial Turquoise attacks the Vanguard. 45k. The attack goes through and slash. 1 damage. Flat trigger. Trigger effect wasted. And cannot heal. So, that's 6 damage. I win. That was a pretty okay fight. Despite some lucky triggers to my opponent in the end, I still managed to eke out a win. So I got win, double trigger, attack 100,000 more power, perfect guarded, opponent healed 6 damage, drew an over trigger, 8 turns passed, retired 5 more opposing units, and 1 of 10 more cards in 1 turn, and threw 3 more times in 1 turn. I got 3150 PP, total 67,275 PP, pressing A to go next. And back to fight menu, leaving fight menu, returning to main menu, and to the edit deck menu. And with that, the deck's been built, card is explained, and just finished testing out the deck in front of you. So first I want to say is, thank you to the viewers for watching today's video, and to please stay tuned for more videos I plan to upload again in the near future. I also hope you all show support by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to my videos and channel. And with that I say, goodbye!